Alright, so here we are inside of Cura 4.0. I think this is the same version, except that this is for PC instead of for Mac. There shouldn't be much difference in how it works, apart from the fact that it crashes like crazy on my computer, because it's old. So let's see what we need to do here. Alright, so we'll go into Settings and Printer over here, and we will select Tevo Michaelangelo. But if you don't have a profile set up, which you do, but it had the old nozzle on it, what you need to do is just click on whatever version you have. I'm going to pretend this is the version, and fingers crossed that it doesn't crash. It did not open anything. Alright, great. Printer. Oh, let's go into Manage Printers. Okay, so let's manage printers and then machine settings. And here we go. So we'll have these values. Hopefully they're all set up correctly. Rectangular, Marlin, you don't need any of this. Unless there's some specific issue that you're having with the X, Y, and Z, but in our case it's perfectly fine. You don't need to mess with any of this code. It's what comes with the machine for now, so don't worry about that. But you will have to change this value to 8 now, because there is a 0.8 nozzle on it. This will stay the same. If it's 285, it's wrong. It needs to be 175. And that's pretty much all you need to do there. And then, of course, you will have to change the settings here. I like to go fine on here, or if you want it to be a little bit more coarse, you can put 0.2 or 0.3. I usually use 0% infill because it saves on plastic, but if you want to make a stronger part, you will increase this value. Most people use 20%. You can go all the way up to 100 if you want a very strong part. And here is, because I've tried going through here and it's hard to find stuff, but luckily they have a good search engine, so you'll just type in temp, T-E-M-P, and if your computer doesn't crash, it'll find it, which is nice. And then you can adjust the temperature for the Tevo Michaelangelo, which usually requires a little bit hotter in our particular case. I usually like to print at 210, 215, or 220. Luckily, you can also adjust this from the machine itself, especially if you're using micro center filaments. A lot of those require a little bit higher than 200 as a temperature, so that's good to know, and it will save you some trouble. As far as setting up different speeds and all that, I haven't worked it out yet. It was very easy in the old version. Maybe we could just try typing in speed in there. I don't know. It's a good try. But the old version was very simple. It had all the values out there in the open, all on one page, so you could just, but I guess this one does not. Hopefully it's in here. It's taking a very long time to load on my computer. It says fan speed. So I guess you could change some of these values, but I wouldn't really mess with those. Retraction, you probably want to change this value to a lot faster so that you don't get stringing. Nozzle speed 20. Okay, I guess this is pretty standard, so it should work the way it is. Yeah, but anyway. So even though it's hard to find stuff on here, at least they made a really good search engine, so you can just type things in if you know what you're looking for, and you can make adjustments that way. The other thing that I'd look into is adhesion, and I think 88 should be enough for the dyslexic people who can't, like me. So usually you can put a brim, but I usually put it as none because the Tevo doesn't really require adhesion if you set up the leveling correctly. Most people don't, which is why they rant about it online that it doesn't adhere to the build plate, but that is not true. And then the other reason why people rant is because they say the printhead knocks things off the build plate, and that's only true if you don't crank all the jerk settings down to 0. If you don't do that, then it makes the printer jerk, and then it will knock things off the build plate. Or if you are crazy and you try to print super fast, that'll happen on any printer. So yeah, so I think that's everything, and for once it hasn't crashed, so that's beautiful. Let's see if we can do one last thing, which is show you how to import a model. I usually just drag and drop it, or you can open it up here from File, or from here, either way. You can open a model from there pressing on this button. I won't do it, this button here. I won't do it just because it may crash my computer, and that's not fun. I will press on Yoda real quick, and then we'll go here to these settings. These are for moving your model. If you want, you can just add values in there, or use these lines. You can click and drag on these to move it up, left and right. I usually wouldn't mess with it, especially if it's one piece like this, because it's already in the center of the build plate and it will print just fine. Over here you have this little icon there, which allows you to shrink or enlarge your prints. So let's say if you want to do 50%, you click that button and it'll shrink it down and put it down on the build plate so it doesn't print in the air. It does that automatically. Make sure you have this checked, or it will only change one value at a time. So with this checked, it will change all 3 of these values, is what you want, unless you don't. And then let's go to the next one, which is you can rotate the model using this. This will mirror the model. You don't need that for most models. But these 3 are more advanced, so you don't want to mess with that when you're a beginner. And yeah, I think that's all. The last thing is you want to be able to save your files to your removable keycard, whatever it is. And this is nice that it auto ejects it. So let's say you wanted to print this size and all, you would just click on here, and then if you have that in your removable thingy, it'll even tell you that it will eject it so that it doesn't corrupt your keycard. That's a good feature that the old version did not have, which I'm happy they put in. So this is me doing this video for like the 30th time, and this time it did not crash, so hooray, I will post it, and hopefully you'll have a great experience printing. Enjoy.